Welcome to Move Your Mind. My name's Nick Bracks, and this is a podcast where we have real conversations with real people and give real advice. On today's episode, I spoke to Nathan and Ben, who are two of the co-founders of Speak and Share. The idea of Speak and Share originated early in 2021. At this time, they knew people were struggling. There were major impacts happening from the lockdowns. They were entrenched in isolation, and this led to significant changes in their lives. The three of them knew that they wanted to positively impact the community, encourage vulnerability, and build upon a positive community culture. The great thing about these guys is they are so down to earth, they speak from the heart, and what they're doing is applicable to people from all walks of life. I hope you enjoy the episode, and thanks again for supporting Move Your Mind. If you'd like to learn more, you can purchase the Move Your Mind book at nickbracks.com/book, or you can join the Move Your Mind community at moveyourmind.me. Nathan and Ben, thank you so much for making the time to come on my podcast. We're just joking before that it's taken a long time to get here, which it seems to happen with a lot of the guests, and always hard to coordinate, and especially between time zones and whatever else. But glad to have both of you on here.
Beautiful, yeah. Thanks for having us, mate. It has been a bit of a journey to get here, but
we made it.
Yeah, we're keen as.
We made it. No, appreciate it. Yeah, it looks like you guys are both, you're doing amazing things with Speak and Share, which I'm super excited to learn more about. Before we go into that, I'd love to just learn about you guys and, a bit of your backstory. So I don't know who wants to go first, but if you guys want to take turns just giving me a bit of a background about, who you are and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, well, we're both from Mornington Peninsula, which is southeast of Melbourne. Both school teachers. I studied teaching and exercise science at Australian Catholic University up in Fitzroy, so out near Melbourne. Finished uni end of 2020. Nathan and I went to school with each other, played a bit of footy with each other as well. And yeah, now we find ourselves running Speak and Share, which we started close to 2 years ago now.
Yeah, and just jumping on that, there's another guy that we do Speak and Share with called Mason. And the three of us during the Victorian lockdowns, we were lucky enough to go up to the Northern Territory to play footy. And the three of us all lived together, and we were friends, but that being together during that time really brought our friendship closer. And I guess during that time, a few things happened. So my parents split up during that time, and Ben and Mace lost one of their close mates to suicide, unfortunately. So that really formed a really close bond that we have with each other now. And realistically, that led to us starting Speak and Share. So the three of us went through quite a hard time, and eventually we just came together whilst we were teaching, and we said, the three of us have a story to share. We're young males. We might have an opportunity to create an impression on our wider community. And here we are almost 2 years later. Trying to bring as much awareness to mental health in a positive way as possible.
Yeah, which is incredible. And, I'll ask more about Speak and Share in a sec, because, super interested to learn, in detail about that. But I think, it's amazing that you guys are doing what you're doing. And especially for men, I've been in mental health in this industry for over 12 years now. And, there's a lot of awareness, but I think people don't realize, there's still a lot going on behind the scenes, and there's still a lot of men that are struggling and aren't talking about it. And I know from experience that, like what you guys are doing, it genuinely helps and it saves lives. Like it's so important. So I think it's amazing what you're both doing, and to go through that experience and to be able to talk about it and then put it into, practical action. And, there's not many more meaningful things you can do. So I think it's really, really amazing.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So I guess one of the questions that, when you went through that experience and during lockdowns, having, I guess with, parents breaking up and losing the friend, and how did you personally manage that experience? What was that like, and how did you work through that?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Like me personally, it was 2020, so the three of us, as Nate said, got up to Darwin, escaped Victoria, and got up there. I did my final placement for university up there, so I was working at Haileybury College up there doing my final placement, and my mate took his life 2 days after I'd finished my placement. So I was in a pretty good mindset. I just finished uni, just finished placement. I was pretty up and about. Then got a call from a friend back in Melbourne explaining that my mate Josh had taken his life. So it hit me like a truck, to be honest. I was away from my own family, and then Josh's closer friends and his family. So it put me in a space that I've never been into mentally. And we say it all the time, like growing up, I didn't really know what mental health was, what it looks like. You don't really learn about it in school. So to get a call saying that one of your best mates has taken his own life hit me pretty hard, and I probably seriously struggled for about 3 or 4 months after hearing that news. It was in a pretty dark spot, and still gets me today even talking about it. It's pretty tough. It was tough. And obviously Nath experienced his parents splitting up about 3 months prior to that, when we were in in what do you call it?
In quarantine.
In quarantine, before we got up there. So it was a pretty full-on 3 months for us.
Yeah, and I think, touching on mine, like, I think it was 2 days into us having to do our quarantine stint. So, we were caged in an area where we weren't able to go out or do anything. I was just with 2 of my mates, and sort of to get that call was, pretty terrifying. Like, as a kid, I've always said, always been so proud to have parents together. And I mean, every time you heard little Johnny's parents are split up, you'd feel so bad for him, but you'd just be so proud that your parents were together and hoping that would never happen to you. But I guess going through that and being away, we were up there to have fun and have a good time and play footy, and there were so many opportunities that we got to do, and I tried to bottle it up as much as possible. And for a lot of it, apart from when I was alone, I did a pretty good job at hiding those emotions. But when I came home and entered pretty much a new life, I really struggled. So that led to some pretty deep and dark thoughts, and led to me distancing myself from a lot of people and not really enjoying the things I'd always loved doing. But sort of had a breakdown where sort of turned everything around because I had so much support around me.
Yeah, absolutely. Which it's such a process to go through, and like you're saying, not a lot of education about this growing up. We're not taught this often by our parents. We're not taught in school. We're have to almost learn through trial and error, and it's why it's so important that we're talking about it and trying to educate people from experience, because a lot of people just don't even have the self-awareness to know what's going on. So it's it really is super important to be having that conversation. Was it the kind of thing that you guys experienced growing up that, I guess, as men and in life in general, it just wasn't talked about, wasn't something with your mates on a broader sense in footy, that emotions and things like that were sort of not talked about a lot? They weren't.
Not really. Well, the 2 of us played footy growing up, and Nate's still playing footy now. And stereotypically, footy clubs are environments where males particularly don't talk about what they're going through. I think it's definitely getting better. Footy clubs are doing a lot of work now in regards to their own players' welfare and mental health. But when I first started playing senior footy, which would have been 4 or 5 years ago now, it wasn't really spoken about, but it's definitely getting better within clubs post-COVID.
Yeah,
that's great.
Absolutely. And even if we think about school, I can't remember now ever being taught about mental health in maybe surface level, this is mental health, but never learned about how it can affect you and what you can do to overcome those challenges. But definitely now there's been a lot of funding to try put programs in place to educate students, and it's as important as ever coming out of lockdown. But even if I think about growing up, seeing my parents split up, you always grow up thinking your parents are invincible and nothing will ever phase them. But to see them in a real vulnerable place and see the emotion, that really did take a toll on me as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, it's crazy. It's crazy that I think it's the most important thing we should be taught, and that, the school system is pretty archaic and a lot of it's outdated, but we're taught a lot of things that we don't often need in the real world, yet we're not taught literally essential things. And I think like what you're saying, and we can see with parents and a lot of, figureheads in general in life, we think that they have something that we don't, or almost looking at them like they're not human. And as, in that situation of having the parents split up, of course, that's, horrific, and, so many things to deal with that. But I guess one of the outcomes would be the humanizing of, hey, my parents are people like me. They have emotions, they have struggles, we've all got difficulties. And I think, again, where we just don't talk enough in general about this stuff, so then it can come as such a shock. But we need to, we're all human, every single person, no matter who you are, no matter what position you're in, you're going to have the same sort of your own version of the same struggles. So it's just, so important.
Absolutely. And that's what we're trying to normalize. From our point, like, we want everyone to know that, our challenges might be different, but we're all going through something, and we can all lean on each other to get through that challenge.
And everyone's got their own story, and you should feel comfortable in embracing that and telling people how you're feeling and what you've been through. It should just be completely normal.
And I think,
oh, sorry, mate. Yeah.
I was jumping on the back of that. Like, everyone's got their own story, but not everyone's story. So someone might lose their friend to suicide, but there shouldn't be any value on whose story is more important or not, because it will affect each and every individual person.
Yep. I think that's a really good point. And, storytelling, I think it's the most powerful thing, storytelling, because no one's, got the answer. I think if someone's out there saying, oh, I've got the solution, or, I've got some 12-step program that's going to fix everything, run a million miles, because everyone has a story, and we're all, got flaws. We've all got positive things, but we can learn, and it's so powerful. And, we tell ourselves behind the scenes when we're struggling that, we look at, and especially with social media and things like that, looking at, the highlight reel of other people's lives and saying, what's wrong with me? Why is their life so much better? Why do they cope so much more easily? But as soon as you hear a story from these people, and it, humanizes them, then we realize, oh, we're all going through similar things, and it helps so dramatically. So
Absolutely.
Super important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You learn so much. I love hearing where people have been, what they've been through, how they got through it, how they didn't get through it, what's their barriers been. And you learn so much from interacting with others and what they've been through, for sure.
Yeah, massively. So can you guys tell me a bit about Speak and Share, and sort of, where it's at, what you're doing, whatever else?
Yeah. So the journey of Speak and Share has been, the three of us working as school teachers at the time, and things were tough within schools and within the wider community. So we said to each other, how can we help? How can we make a difference? So it started off by just making an Instagram post with a logo. And to be honest, we had no idea really what we were going to become or what we were going to do. But the reception from that post was incredible. Like, people were sharing it around and commenting and stuff. So that gave us like a lot of faith. And during COVID, we made quite a few like skits trying to normalize like mental health scenarios. And then, one thing led to another. We eventually became a charity last year, and we've just been working on our school program, which we launched a couple of weeks ago. We've been running our sporting club program, and we've got an employee program. So taking our program into workplaces and connecting those employees on a more personal level, rather than just that surface level relationship. But we got some big dreams. Like, we really want to normalize and change the culture of mental health, so that no one has to really go through what we've been through, or people just feel comfortable through speaking and sharing.
No, I love that. And how's that process been? Every step, has it sort of been just continual learning as you go, I guess, and thrown in the deep end and discovering things? And it's pretty cool. I love these kind of stories where you didn't even know what it was meant to start out as, and it's become, it's crazy to see that in that short amount of time you're already where you are now. Imagine in like 10 years time where you guys could be.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey. When we just put up the Instagram post, we sort of had some idea on what we wanted to do. It was during lockdown, so we said, we like the inspired unemployed and how they go about it. So we put some skits up, and they did really well. And then we made a video where we sat in my garage and sort of talked about our own stories and what we've been through. And it's a pretty emotional video, pretty raw video. And we're pretty anxious about posting that, obviously coming from footy clubs. We're like, the footy boys will probably give us some slack about this. We posted that up, and it got really good reception from a lot of people that we didn't know through social media. And it was probably after that we sat down and said, like, we've got a really good opportunity to capitalize on this. And it sort of grew from there. We've got a board now that have helped us dramatically with the business side of things. 2 years ago, we're like, we'll start this business. It can't be that hard to make a business, but there's a lot of work involved in it. And obviously getting the charity status as well. That was a massive application process. So we've learned so much about ourselves and then what business looks like as well. So it's been an amazing journey so far. I'm pretty keen to see where it takes us.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like we get to learn something new every day. Like we've literally never ever run a business before. We're just teachers that like play footy and like are good mates really. So what we've been able to achieve in almost 2 years has been like pretty cool. Like we've absolutely worked our asses off, and yeah, it's been a pretty big sacrifice, but we think Speak and Share has like the opportunity to be around for quite a long time. And yeah, we got some dreams of like doing a tour around Australia and capturing people's stories. And we even see a potential for our message to hopefully be heard like globally. Yeah, I'm thinking like way down the journey, but yeah, we're super ambitious and obviously like passionate. So yeah, I think that's what's working well at the moment. Like we've got a lot of energy, and we're putting that into our community, and that's why people, yeah, are engaging with us and are interacting with us.
I think what we've learned as well through our reach on social media is that everyone struggles for mental health. Everyone has it. When we first initially started Speak and Share, we were just purely going to attack men's mental health. But a lot of the audience now, and from the beginning, has been females as well. It's probably 50-50 and from all age groups. So everyone's got it. And yeah, there's a massive opportunity for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for supporting Move Your Mind. We're expanding the offerings of the organisation and we're tailoring everything we do to suit you guys and to try and answer to all of your needs and the questions that you send in. The book is available globally. You can find all of the links at nickbracks.com/book. And we've just released the Move Your Mind community. We've currently got a men's community group, a women's community group, a general group. We're going to be loading up other groups. And you can find all of the links at moveyourmind.me. This group's been created based on the needs of what we've heard and learnt throughout running Move Your Mind. And we have live events, we've got courses, we've got huge amounts of value, the ability to share information, share ideas, work in groups together to grow and share your learnings, to learn about different topics. You get email reminders. There's a whole lot of features in there. We're constantly updating it, and we're so excited to share it with you. You can find all of the information about it at moveyourmind.me. Massively. Exactly. And I think it's so needed what you're doing and so authentic the way you're doing it. You know, there's no sort of level you can't take it to. Are there common things that come up with people you're hearing from about what their struggles are or what they're, wanting in terms of help or, that kind of thing? Are there common things you're sort of finding that come up from the work you're doing?
Well, there's a wide range of things, to be honest. It depends what age group we're talking to. Nathan and I at the footy club we play at, a lot of younger kids struggle with career paths. They've just finished school, been in lockdown for 2 years. They're not really sure on what path they want to go to. A lot of them are good football players. They think they're going to get drafted. They don't get drafted, sort of thing. And then you speak to people in their 25s, early, mid-20s, which are the age that we are now. They're financially struggling or financially stressed. And you move into the older brackets, as people are having affairs and all that sort of issues. So there's a wide range of issues. It just depends who you're talking about, really.
Yeah. And I think like even if you think of the younger group, like the 12 to 13-year-olds, like obviously bullying is a thing, and then like stable houses and families. It's very generalized, but I think what we've learned is that there aren't too many dissimilarities between people. These problems are very common, and the way that we go through them aren't too dissimilar to each other. So being able to talk about that and like hearing someone else go through something that you're going through, it doesn't make you feel alone, which is a powerful thing.
Absolutely. And for both of you guys, have you got things that you do daily that help keep you balanced, like exercise, meditation, whatever it is? Are you both able to give examples of what you personally do?
Mine's probably routine. I'm incredibly strict on my routine. The boys give me a bit of slack for it, but I go to bed pretty early every night, or try to. And if I'm up past 10 p.m, I get pretty agitated. We had a tennis night a couple of nights ago and we're up past 10 o'clock and I was stressing hard. So routine is crucial for me. And then exercise as well. I try and get to the gym or try and go for a run every morning just to clear the head. And also, a bit of a weird one, but boys give me slack as well, make my bed every day. If I've had a shit day, at least I know that I've achieved something. I've made my bed. So I wish Nathan would do the same because his room is a bit messy. But
I'll never ever make my bed. But for me, like I use the ocean like as an outlet, I guess. So whenever things are getting like on top of me, I know like to go for a surf or go throw my head under the water at the beach. And exercise, obviously, like running, playing footy, going to the gym. Yeah, just being active. Like we're very similar, and we do a lot of things together, whether that's going to the gym or going for a run. But yeah, we're pretty intact with how we look after our mental health, and I think we can read each other pretty well as well now. So being like close mates, if you know someone's off, you're like, all right, let's go do this or let's do that sort of thing.
Almost too well.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, being best mates and then like being in a business or running an organization together, you get on top of each other's skin a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. How is that to manage? Is that sort of a balancing act, or you're pretty used to it now? I guess you sort of know each other inside out, so it's probably fairly normal. But can that be a challenge to sort of manage that?
Sometimes when we're working, so we've just moved into an office now, which is like a huge achievement for us because we were working at Ben's house for ages. And being at Ben's house, it gets like 3:30 and he may have had enough of us. And he's like, all right, call it. Time to go home, boys. And he like kick us out the door. So
I think we've been pretty good though, to be honest. We haven't really clashed heads too often. But we're only 2 years in. So ask us in 5 years and see where we're at.
Sort of like, it's pretty surreal to think that you can like work with your best mates like every day. So sometimes we pinch each other, like we get to do this and do that. So
it's pretty amazing. Yeah, exactly. You're getting to do something so meaningful with your best mates, and it's pretty amazing thing to be able to do. So yeah, and I really appreciate you guys coming and sharing all of that. If our listeners want to learn more about Speak and Share, we'll put all of this in the show notes. Where's the best place to send them?
Yeah, so we're trying to build a massive community on Instagram. So it's speak_share. And that's where we do all our posting, and that's where we get most of our engagement. We're building our TikTok platform this year, and then obviously through our website, www.speakandshare.com. That's where we post a lot of our stuff about our programs and the opportunities to be part of Speak and Share.
Yeah, great. Well, again, for anyone listening, all of the links for Instagram, TikTok, website, etc., will be in the show notes. So make sure to check it out. So we finish every episode with 5 closing questions. So because we've got both of you guys on here, we might just take turns at who wants to answer each question. These are, not anything too crazy. Not going to throw you under the bus too much here, but or maybe I should. Maybe I'll just change these up and try and give you something completely out of the ordinary. No, but the first one, whoever, I don't know, you guys can choose who wants to answer this first, but first one is, what's your best childhood memory that comes to mind?
I've got one.
Or
you can both answer them as well. We can do it that way.
Mine's probably Auskick. So an AFL program that they run in Oz for kids that wanted to get into footy. My old man used to run it. I remember waking up with him every 5:30 every Saturday morning and going down to that and hanging around for the barbecue and eating a few snags, probably too many snags. It's probably my best childhood memory. In everyday life, I don't really get the time to do that with my old man, and I regret that now that he's getting on now. So that's probably mine. Yeah, mine's similar. Like I remember Dad pushing me on my first wave up in Noosa in Queensland. So catching my first wave with him. So like probably the only childhood memory that really comes to mind. Yeah. Pretty solid.
Love that. Yeah. What do you think is currently the biggest burden on mental health in society?
Just, I think education, a lack of education. So especially within schools, there's still a massive opportunity to educate students on what mental health is and how you can deal with those challenges.
I'd go the same. Education. Yep. There's not enough being done within schools. They're getting better, but it's still nowhere where it should be. I think personally there should be a mental health subject whether it's primary school or secondary school. This is what mental health is. This is what it looks like. This is how you start the conversation surrounding mental health, which is what's integrated in our school program, but I think it should be in the curriculum.
Absolutely.
These days, kids throw the terms like around so openly, like, oh, I want to jump off a bridge and I want to like kill myself, like, and they just throw it around so loosely, but they don't have like an understanding of the impact of those words. So we need to get in from a very early age and educate them on, the impact that those words can have.
Yeah, 100%. I think until that happens, we can't really, make proper, sustainable, long-term change. It's just, these things need to happen. They're going to happen at some point, but hopefully sooner than later, we can really start hammering that education in, from an early age.
Yeah.
What's your personal definition of happiness?
Probably goes under like the proper health definition of being fit, which is your mental, social, physical. When I'm doing well in all those aspects, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
If I'm mentally switched on, if I'm physically active, if I'm doing well socially and emotionally as well, I'm pretty happy. So that's probably a mix of the 5 dimensions of health, I reckon.
Yeah, pretty similar. So like feeling confident and comfortable within my own skin in all aspects of life, whether that's relationships or friendships or, well-being at home or physical health as such.
Yeah. The 10-year anniversary of Under Bracks, and we've relaunched with the classic white pair. We've also got new styles coming out super soon. We're donating $1 from every pair to mental health, currently to 1 in 5. You can find all of this at www.underbracks.com. Yeah, and I think it's a good point. I mean, it's like I always talk about, the common sense things are the things that we often neglect, and it sounds simple, but it's just looking at, like you're saying, even going to bed early, getting enough sleep. Like sleep, it's critical. If we're not sleeping enough, we're not going to feel as clear. We're going to probably not exercise as much, and then we're going to feel more lethargic and probably eat badly. And just these simple things, like really just being honest and assessing what am I doing. Am I actually looking after myself, or am I neglecting that because I've got too many other things that are consuming me? It's so important.
I think that's what a big thing that people have learned through lockdown as well, especially in Australia. 2 years being at home, people have realised how important it is to check in with yourself and look after yourself. Like a lot of people down our way, going to the beach every Saturday morning. A lot of people are doing yoga now. A lot of people are doing meditation. Whereas pre-lockdown, it wasn't really that popular. So it's good to see people are focusing on themselves post-lockdown.
100%. What are you most afraid of?
I'm extremely afraid of dying. Like the thought of it absolutely freaks me out. Like as soon as I think about it, it's like, I get really scared. But I guess, we're put on the earth to make a difference, and being in this position through Speak and Share, like we're obviously trying to make as much of a difference as possible. So maybe if you ask me that question when I'm 80 years old, I might feel comfortable in what I've achieved. So
yeah.
Mine's probably getting better with it, but fear of judgment, I reckon. I'm actually a pretty anxious person. Oh, we lost you.
Oh,
you there?
Yep. All good. Can you see? Is that working for you guys?
Yeah, our screen's just jumping around a bit.
Yep.
Mine's probably fear of judgment. I'm a pretty anxious person. If I meet someone for the first time and then go away from the conversation, be like, geez, did they like me? Did they not like me? Did I say something stupid? So that's probably mine. Getting better with it, but it's still, a fear.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's,
How about you, Nick? How about you? What's your...
Well, mate, I would say the same as you. I am fucking terrified of dying still. No matter how old I get or whatever, it's just, if I think about it properly, if I think about the finality of it, and I'll just, I can't, it's hard to accept. So that's probably the biggest one. Probably that, and the what ifs. So I just try and live my life by, if there's anything I want to do or say or try and achieve, I'll just try and do it, because I don't really care if I fail at things or things don't go my way. But if I'd be terrified of, being 80 and looking back on my life and thinking, oh, what if I did this or that? So that's probably the other big one.
Yeah, sweet.
I think we're starting to learn that as well. You just got to take it on. If you fail, you fail. Like, you gave it a shot. on a diet.
I think it's, it's even part of this mental health conversation of like all of these things that get put in our head and the conditioning and, fear mongering and messages and, things people are projecting on us because they've been conditioned to think in a certain way. There's no right or wrong, but if you want to do something, just do it. Like what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work, then I'm sure there's going to be a solution, that you can find. Like we get taught that the risk is so gigantic that we just shouldn't try and do anything, where it's like, well, what's the worst that can happen? If you sort of prepare yourself for the worst case scenario, you can only win. So it's like, and even if it doesn't go your way, you learn something anyway. So you can't really lose.
Exactly right.
Beautiful.
So final one, what are you guys most proud of?
Yeah, this is probably a question that we don't actually starting Speak and Share, like we haven't even stopped to like think about what we've sort of achieved, but
I'd probably say starting this movement, I'm not satisfied with it yet because we're pretty hungry for more, but I'd probably say, starting this journey. When we first started, we were just like, should we just stay as teachers, do that for the next 45 years of our life? But pretty proud that we've just taken it on. We didn't know where it was going to head, as we said at the start, but I'm pretty proud of the three of us for just jumping in it and seeing where we go.
Yeah, I'll jump on the back of that. I completely agree. But on a more personal level, like I'm really proud of my sister. She went through like a bit of a hard time in her younger days with like anorexia and stuff, but she's absolutely thriving now. And I'm really proud to see her journey. So that's a more personal level.
Amazing. Well, thank you both for sharing that and making the time to come on here and just being so open. And what you guys are doing, it is amazing, and you both should be proud of it. And it is, like you're saying, only at the beginning. So I think you're going to do so many things that are going to help so many people, and appreciate what you're doing. And thank you again for making the time to have this chat.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Thanks to Nathan and Ben for joining me today for Move Your Mind. If you'd like to learn more, you can join the Move Your Mind community at moveyourmind.me, or you can purchase the Move Your Mind book at nickbracks.com/book.